between the street racing and the helicopters outside covering the protesting or potential protesting, it's been difficult to get some sleep. I've even had people texting me like, it's going to be a long night. However, I did take photographs yesterday, which would be Thursday, April 15th of this 2021, and today is Friday of 2020, Friday the April Friday 16th. And it's been quite a photography escapade downtown Minneapolis. When I first went to downtown Minneapolis, I noticed that what seemed to me the barricade from the trial area in downtown Minneapolis had moved outward, but that was a mistake I made. However, this was just a staging area for Humvees and National Guard vehicles. I first came onto, which made me think of this, a gate in downtown Minneapolis right off one of the freeways, and there were 2 National Guards right up front and a police officer, and that's typical, I've noticed. And all the time, 100% of the time, 9 times out of 10, I'll go up to the National Guard guys and say, hey, can I take your photograph? Quite often, they don't care. I think I am in legal rights to photograph them, even up close. I don't want to. If I were in their situation and I'm coming to help out, I don't want to deal with all the extra. But if you think about it, all of these National Guards are average people in Minnesota. I believe all of them are from Minnesota. I don't know if they pulled from out of state. Nobody on an average day wants to take their picture, except maybe family members or friends. But once they put on that uniform, suddenly they're the spotlight and center of attention. Think about it. On an everyday basis, nobody wants to photograph you or take your picture. But once you put that outfit on and you stand behind a barricade, you're a spectacle. You're a focus of attention. And aside from all the politics going on, my heart goes out to anybody in that situation where they have a duty to serve and they've accepted these responsibilities, and then all of a sudden they're placed in a situation where they're not necessarily a spokesperson, but there they are. They are right there in the center of attention. They put on the uniform and they are going to, for whatever your political concerns are, they are going to uphold, I guess, an oath or duty they took in getting to where they were. Wow. Like, I thought of that when I was driving along Lake Street. People were interacting with the National Guard. They were hanging out and talking to them. Police were interacting. It wasn't a big party, but it was, if you wanted to go talk to a National Guard guy, I was like, hey, what's up? How's it going? I did not. I was in a vehicle, but I was looking around, and there was one particular young gentleman who he was sipping on a cup of coffee or whatever he had in the styrofoam cup, and he had that 1,000-yard stare into what I would consider nothing, and surrounded by people interacting, some other National Guards interacting, but this young gentleman, I could have said 19 years old, possibly 18, but I'm not 100% sure. With the uniform, it can be misleading. When I saw that young man there, that was when everything changed in my perspective about what's going on around Minneapolis and Minnesota in general. That, and I appreciate people learning for themselves and going investigating things for themselves and seeing things for themselves rather than getting it on TV or whatnot. I appreciate people who explore the world in a healthy, positive way and reach out to other perspectives. And in that moment, I saw another perspective of that young man. And, a lot of things changed for me at that moment when I saw that young gentleman in the National Guard's outfit and standing by the Humvee, surrounded by other National Guardsmen and women. And they were all with motion. They were all animated. They were all talking. And this one gentleman had that. I just want to know what he was thinking at that moment that made him isolated from the others for just that moment in time. Why they're there, they're there. Trying their best, I believe, to make people feel safe and secure. Just who these National Guards are, they're real people. Seeing that young man it kind of just got heavy outside. I can't see what's going on, but there's a lot more noise than was before. But seeing that young man really put a lot of things in perspective for me. That was the one moment I wanted to get a photograph of, but couldn't. As I was driving along, I just had to just absorb it all at that moment and take it all in. There were 3 young men at the Minneapolis convention. I say young because they're younger than me. I don't know how young they were, but they were sitting at their post and on the ground on essentially a curb behind the fence at the convention center. And I went up to them and I asked them, and I do this as many times as I can. I want to talk to as many people as I can and interact in some simple way. And just to get an idea of more people, just to get an idea of different personalities out there. So I went up to them, and they were sitting on the ground, sitting back, and I said, hey, is it okay if I use my camera and photograph all that military vehicle back beyond the fence? And the 2 guys that were closest to me went right away with, the first guy was, no, that's not a good idea. No. And the second guy was like, and the third guy, now this is what changed my attitude in a way. Like I'm rack focusing on all these personalities there and judging like, okay, what's the seriousness of what these guys are saying? Because they are, I want to respect, personally, as a photographer, and I'm infiltrating their area. I'm not infiltrating their area, but however, I am there with a presence that's more than an average person. When you're with a camera, you are more than an average person. I guarantee that from the perspective of others. And these 3 gentlemen had different personalities of how they were conveying to me what their opinion was of my, and I don't, let's scratch opinion, what their perspective of me with a camera was. And the third guy is what really cracked me up, because he was kind of just looking at the other 2 guys' reactions, and he didn't say anything, and I could tell his gears were thinking like, but the first 2 guys that were closest to me were like, no way, no photographing. And honestly, I could have been across the street, super zoom lens, and just went click and walked on my way, snuck a photo or something like that. I'm not gaming my camera for like that ultimate photo where I snuck the awesome photograph and got the behind the scenes something. I don't need that. I'm out with my photographic fun, not my trying to get everything and capture everything. And I see the camera as more of a ways to interact with people. But I like doing this when I'm about to photograph an area where there's people and they're facing me. I pretend to fumble with my gear. I like stand there and I'm like looking, and I don't take their photo yet. And that's my way of alerting to people like I'm about to take a photograph. You can either turn around or look the other way or pose different or hide that drink you don't want me to see you drinking. And it gives them a little bit of a notice. And a couple times, and I'll flash a photo of one of those times, and I turned it into a wide shot because of this interaction, but I'm standing there kind of in the street with a barricade, and I'm about to photograph these National Guardsmen, and I'm fumbling my camera to show them like, hey, look, I'm about to take a photo of you, and you do what you want, but this is my acknowledgement of what's going on. And not all the time, but every once in a while in this particular shot, the National Guardsmen are with their rifles or whatnot, and slowly they just kind of like turn around and look the other way and do something different with their poses. And I get a kick out of this. I'm not out there trying to photograph to make $1 million. I'm not trying to capture people's images to take from them. I'm out trying to interact with people and have fun. I'm not out trying to cure a political agenda or quell the universe's turmoil with itself. I'm out taking photographs because it allows me more interaction with people and having fun, and I can look at the photos later and go, oh cool, there you go. I walked around downtown. Oh geez, it's getting worse out there. Just by the volume, I'm getting a little nervous. As I'm editing this video, I realize it's apparent that I've got nervousness about what's going on across the way. I can't see it, but I know something's going on. Yes, there is something going on, and later in this video I'll just declare I read on a text or a tweet that the first perimeter was breached at the Brooklyn Center Police Station in the protests that were going on, the past tense that were going on as I'm editing this, and it's misleading. And I will get to that possibly in the next video of my concern about how people present information to the public and how I believe it's worded to be dramatic and alarming and get people's attention, and then in the process scare people unnecessarily. And yes, I was quite nervous about something going down, and it was going down. Again, misleading. Well, something's for sure going on. I don't know what. Some days I just don't care, but should I care? I walked around downtown Minneapolis. I did walk around downtown Minneapolis and decided to focus on the fence again and see what was going on with that. It seemed, I'm sorry to say, business as usual around the fence. Not too many people were protesting at the time I walked around. There was a live feed that was constantly fixated on the building, the courthouse, and if you walked by, it'd pick you up. I think I was picked up. I don't know where it fed to, but pretty interesting. And yeah, if you want a street race, this is the time to do it, because police are focused on something else. The term caveat means special instructions or special warning. The caveat of this for racers is be careful of the consequences that are involved with racing. I know it's cool, I know it's fun, and increases in racing have occurred over the last little while in downtown Minneapolis and surrounding areas. You can hear people racing on the freeways from far away. The engines are so loud and the exhaust is so loud. It's fine to a point, but there are serious consequences involved accidentally killing somebody. You don't just get away with it just because you say, oh, look up the consequences. Look up the consequences of racing. Definitely. I want to say this, and I'll say it in another video and I'll probably say it again. Every single person had a hand in Minnesota of putting that fence up around the courthouse. You might argue that I never physically touched the concrete or the wires or the barbed wire or the fencing. I'm saying in some minute way that every single person in Minnesota and possibly the United States had a hand in putting that fence up there. So when I see it personally, looking at the fence and walking around, and it's different to see it on the news and go up and actually touch the fence and walk alongside it and see what's going on. And it is something I think about when I walk along the fence, is that we all put that up there. It's not, you can blame that on somebody and say, well, that fence is there because of that over there or that over there. That fence around the courthouse is there because you, who is viewing this, helped allow it, or in some way our society is in a general tone that says that's who we are. I'm not going to get further into it in this video, but someday I might expand upon it after the fact. But a lot of people are saying, well, there's a problem over there and there's the problem over there. And not too many people are saying we all are the problem. And it's just what I'm saying. I'm not saying it in an angry tone. I'm not saying it to sound poetic. Although I'm sure if I did it better, it could sound poetic. So apparently some stuff did go down. Champlin, Brooklyn Center, curfew orders, and police precinct in the Brooklyn Center. The outer perimeter did get breached, apparently, according to Minnesota OSN on Twitter. Protesters continued to throw objects towards law enforcement. Dispersal orders at 9:51 p.m., that would make sense. Secondary gate integrity has been reestablished, and then it seems like it breached, reestablished, breached. Something's going on. If I were to ask myself, if somebody came up and interviewed me right now and said, do you want the fence down right away? Do you want this all to be over with right away? And it's a weird tone to have, but I internally have this. The fence will go away when it goes away. As I was photographing the National Guardsmen and women, I wanted to try to do creative stuff where I didn't show their faces. Because in these videos I do not want to single any one person out. It's not my intention. I just want to be creative with how I document things that are going around downtown Minneapolis. And at one point I saw two National Guardsmen, I think on Nicollet, and a bicyclist was coming between us and the camera and the National Guardsman. And I wanted to get it where the bicyclist streaked across the frame, so I needed a slow shutter speed. I needed a certain exposure, and I could not get it. I wanted the bicyclist to blur with the National Guardsman, and I could not quite get it. Well, I didn't get it. I got the bicyclist right where I wanted him to be, but the blur did not happen. It was too bright out, or that's an excuse. I don't want to make excuses all my life, just once in a while, when it's just right. And I moved on from there, and I went south a little bit to Lake Street, and I went on to I don't know which precinct it was, the South Precinct. It is right by the Kmart, really. That's the one, within like 4 blocks of Kmart. That's the one I wanted to photograph again, because I remember passing by there, and it was more fortified than after the George Floyd protests, civil unrest in summer 2020. I wanted to document how fortified it was, because I documented before how fortified it was, and now it's 2 to 3 times as more fortified. If I said those sentences correctly, that's great. I am impressed is not a good word. I am amazed at how it looks, because you're not seeing the police station. All you're seeing is the fortification around it. And from any alley, from any street, from any angle, you're not seeing the police station. You're seeing the fortification of the police station. And again, back to my original thought, we all Minnesotans, and possibly the whole United Statesians, have placed that there to one degree or another, in some spiritual aspect, or I gotta check on this. To some degree, we all Minnesotans have placed all these fortresses around these iconic situations. I say to myself, that's us. This is us. I don't deny anything. I'm saying that fortress is there, and we established that is now the status quo here in Minnesota. Yeah, I'm nervous about what's going on around the neighborhoods. I can just feel myself being tense. I can just feel I'm not like this. This is I can hear it's like surround sound going around outside in all directions. More helicopters now on this is Friday. Well, I can feel myself just being tense. I can just feel the just really not relaxing thoughts right now. Meaning, I don't think I'm going to sleep tonight. I think I'm just going to work on editing this video and seeing how it goes. And I want to talk about photographs, but I can't. I'm like, I keep listening outside what's going on. But I want to. Like, photography is fun. Photography is spiritually amazing to me. I know that I will continue to take photographs all my life. I love my perspective on things. I love how I provide a twist to things. I love my uniqueness as a photographer. I'm a photographer first. Everything else, well, I'm a starving artist who's a photographer, and then everything else, I'm that second, is my honest opinion of myself. But wow, I cannot stop the energy going on outside. Somebody said once, transform the energy instead of trying to stop it. And I don't know about this. Like, should I go outside and start directing people and tell them we need to change our energy? You pick up a paintbrush and you start helping me rebuild this door over here, and let's go. I am so trying to be funny right now, and it's just, I can feel it not working. So I did take some more photos. I went up and down Lake Street, and I got some helicopter footage. The helicopters are more plentiful right now. I am trying my best to I don't even know if there's a curfew right now. I should take a walk around outside and see what's going on, because I think everything is expanding, and I don't know 100% of what that means, but I should be more aware than doing dumb videos, really.